Hi everyone, my name is Kene
And my name is Rhean, and welcome to Candid Perspectives.
with Kene and Rhean. Okay, go ahead.
Hi everyone, welcome to Candid Perspectives with Kene and Rhean, and today we'll be discussing entrepreneurship.
Today we'll be joined by two entrepreneurs and I'll allow them to introduce themselves. So let's start with Mr. Rollocks.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies. Certainly a pleasure to be with you. Well, the name is Rawle Rollocks. And should I get into what I do at this time or just names for now?
Sure. Yes.
Okay, great. Well, in short, I'm a consultant. Um, I'm the founder and lead consultant at a company called VisionWorks, which I founded maybe about 3 years ago. It really has been a life work. I've been in the field of consulting, working with small businesses, coaching small businesses for over 20 years. So somewhere along maybe 2015, I had a name change, right? So I used to be called Business Advance, but now I'm called VisionWorks. And the thinking behind it really was that there's so many of us who have these dreams in our minds. They have these things that they want to do. There's just something every time you wake up, there's just something on your mind that you want to pursue. That it's like a call, and you don't always have what it takes to put that together. All right. The pieces, how do I put all these pieces together? Where am I going to get funding from? What should I do first? Who should I talk to? Should I employ people? Should I try to do it on my own? So the idea behind Vision Works is to help individuals, organizations, and small businesses put their plans and their dreams together to accomplish what they want to do in life.
Wow. Okay.
It seems I have a connection issue on my end.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Okay, great.
That's fine.
Okay,
that's fine.
you're hearing me well. Okay,
Yes,
fine.
I am. All right, Miss Quong Sing.
Sure. So my name is Amalda Quong. I am a digital marketer. That is the technical term. Recently, I found myself specializing more in copywriting. I really enjoy building and expanding on brands' languages and their culture and their communication with their community. So that's what I've been doing mostly. That's what I've been focusing on. And I'm also actually trying to break into voice talent work. So yeah, that is that was really brief, but that's what I do.
Okay, so I know you said that, Mr. Rollocks, that you wanted to help people get to higher places with what they wanted to do, help them achieve their dreams. But what steps did you take in order to get where you are to be able to help other people get to where they want to be?
That's an interesting question. Well, some of it has been formal, some of it has been informal, some of it has been by pure chance. Some of it, although we know that altogether things do have a purpose behind whatever we do, whatever we get into. Um, I would say being in the field of consulting helped because I worked with consulting firms for some time, and that gave me an idea of the issues businesses face. I spent most of my time with corporate businesses, which is really large companies, large enterprises, ministries, state enterprises, and so forth. And I found that my passion really was with the smaller businesses. I really like smaller type businesses who are young and now starting up and really want to bring innovation and creativity to their particular field. And that was built while I was there. So what I did really, I failed a lot. I ran several businesses. My first degree is in tourism. So my first business was a business that did tours. So I did tours and concerts and events, and that kind of got my feet wet in terms of what's a business all about. How do I structure it? How do I plan it? How do I put accounting systems in place? How do I market it and so forth? So along the way, of course, I've had several businesses. So that certainly taught me and helped prepared me for helping other businesses. In addition to which, I've done quite a number of You know the world we live in now, there's so much online, so much is available for you to do and learn. So I've done several programs and courses that would help, you know. You'd be surprising, right? You'd be surprised to know that actually helping people helps you as well. So quite a lot of what I've learned from other businesses who are there trying to make it work for themselves. So every
Right.
time I work with somebody, I take their story and it becomes part of the arsenal I use and the toolkit that I use to help other people, you know? So I would say the experience in consulting, working my own business, and I've failed at a couple businesses. You understand? I've had the unfortunate, oh well, it turned out to be a good thing situation where you start up a business, you go, you open your door every day, you're proud, you're talking to all the businesses, and then one day things go bad, you have to close down, you feel ashamed, you feel disappointed. You know, so I've been through that, you know. I also spent a lot of time in the field of financial planning and advisory services. I spent some time in the insurance sector as well. And that also taught me a lot. So I spent a lot of time talking to people, hearing their stories, seeing what they've done, you know, educating myself. So all these things together, I think, help prepare me for the work that I'm doing now.
Okay.
Okay. And how about you, Miss Kwang Sing? So you said you were a digital marketer, but these days you're into copywriting. How did you find out about all this? When did you know this is what you wanted to do?
I will be honest, I think most of what I do right now has almost been a happy accident. So when I got into digital marketing, I was actually a receptionist at a beauty company. And one day, I tell this story all the time. My boss literally comes to me, hands me her cell phone, and she's like, post this on Instagram. And I did. And then I was just the person who posted on Instagram. Um, so I did that for a year. I continued working there as well. And over time, through the University of YouTube and the University of the Internet, I discovered that other people did it as well, and it could actually be a business. And that I was fairly good at it, you know. So I did a lot of research online. I took a lot of short courses. YouTube again is like one of your best friends, and then there are other platforms like Coursera, Udemy. There are quite a few of them. You can find this information on the internet. Um, and thankfully, I have a good support group around me, and so I was always able to find jobs through my networks. Someone would kind of name drop here or there, and I would sort of end up in rooms with people who needed my services. So I've been really lucky along the way to just kind of be suggested for various jobs. I love what Mr. Rollocks said about failing. I think experience is the best teacher. We can get to that a little bit more later, but that's super important to keep in mind as an entrepreneur.
Okay. So, Miss Kong Sing, you said that you had support, and
Mm-hmm.
that's your key way of networking. So, did you have the support of your family, and how did that impact your journey?
I definitely did. Even my parents, they don't quite understand what I do even now. They're a little bit older. So for them, the internet is just like a vast place and they don't quite get it. But they have always said, if you're doing well and you're happy, then go for it. Particularly my mom. I think without their support, it would have been harder. I probably would have done it anyway, but it would have been more difficult. But I think the support that was a little more impactful in terms of pushing my career forward definitely came from friends and persons who were already in the industry who understood it a little bit better and were able to sort of guide me as to how to improve.
Sorry to put you on the spot, but either of you could answer. But what if, say, I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to get into digital marketing, but
Mm-hmm.
my mother, my father, my parents said, no, I want you to become a lawyer. You're going to stay in law school.
Hmm.
And that's that. What advice would you give to a person in my situation?
Are you 18? That's that way.
Yes. Well, older than, yes.
Okay, great. Um, I do not want to get in between anyone's family dynamics, but I will say at the end of the day, it is your life to live. I cannot make that decision for you, but weigh up the pros and cons and make the decision that feels right for you and that makes sense. You do have your entire life ahead of you. Even if you do law now, you could still do digital marketing later on. If you do digital marketing now, you can do law later on. It's not the be all and end all, whatever you decide to do right now. So yeah, do whatever feels right. And know that you can change your mind.
Okay.
Yes, I'd say as well that you do have time. So just as is it Amanda? Amalda.
Amalda.
Amalda, yes, I'm now looking at the name. Yes, just as she said, you do have time. But what you can do as well is that you can be creative and you can negotiate. And this thing has come up before with, as you would know, with people. So some people negotiate like this. Listen, mom, listen, dad, this is what I want to do. Give me this opportunity. Give me a year, give me whatever time. And if it doesn't work out, then I'm going to. You understand? That's one thing you can do. The other thing you can do is probably do it at the same time. So I know of people and worked with people who did it at the same time. And like I'm talking to a parent right now. So their son went online and was doing this thing that did something with gaming, where they're recording the gaming and putting it on, and
Or
he
the
was making a
streaming.
no, not just streaming, but something with how he was recording it. But he was making a ton load of money. In fact, this happened during COVID, and he made more money than the mother made in 3 months. And the mother said, "Okay, now this thing can really work." So another way of doing it is proving it. You understand? Sometimes because there's nothing that says how can this really work? There's that fear. So I think you can negotiate as well, but certainly, as Amalda said, you have time on your side, so there's nothing to panic about. Even if your parents are insistent that they don't want you anywhere close to it, you have time. So be creative. I'm saying be innovative, and you can find a way.
I have to agree with that.
Very nice. Well, Miss Quong Sing spoke about family support. Mr. Rollocks, did you have family support?
Yes, certainly. That was there. The interesting thing for me is that quite a lot of the things that I've done have been kind of new and different. I've kind of made my own pathway. So it
Right.
was difficult, even though support was there to a point, it was difficult for them to so it's like the question you were asking earlier about trying to convince your parent to do something. It's like trying to convince a wife or husband or father or mother, whoever around you, that you're going to make this work, especially when it's new. So that has always been the challenge. I've had quite a lot of support coming from those around me. I believe, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. So I always believe in teaming, the whole idea that together each achieves more. So I've always, whatever I've done, I've built it through working with other persons. But not only that, showing them how we can benefit them. Because sometimes we want to connect with people, but they don't really benefit, and we want support. So I think that has helped me tremendously building that network. So everywhere I go, my network goes. So let's say I'm meeting Amalda today and I understand that she's in digital marketing. The next time I go somewhere, I'm going to say, listen, I met, Amalda and she's into digital. That's how I do it. So that encourages the people around me to do the same. And that certainly has helped provide the support that I need. So I'd say the family, yes, networking among professionals. And certainly another area of support has come from clients. Because I do business coaching, over time, some of the people have been coaching for maybe as long as 10, 12, 15 years. So you develop a relationship and they see the benefits of what you're doing. So they are able to help support you in terms of recommending, making referrals, or even encouraging you. So I've had the opportunity, the situation where some of my clients, when things have been bad for me, came back and they've been a source of support, especially during this last COVID period here. They've come back to me and said, Mr. Rollocks, you've helped me so forth. You can do it. You can make it. So they've been part of my cheerleaders, for want of a better word.
Okay, and I know you said that, well, COVID kind of impacted you negatively. So could you explain to us in what way? And if it did have positive impact on you as well, could you share with us how?
Wow. It changed my life.
Mm.
Prior to COVID, even though I'm in consulting and so forth, and I understand the whole IT world and the digital world and so forth. In fact, one of my projects has also been in the area of gaming. So,
Mm.
I worked on developing a game and on mobile game, a mobile app for students in school, and adventure game. So I've done that kind of stuff. But COVID presented a really unique challenge for me because even though, you do stuff online, doing a business online is something totally different to marketing online. And sometimes people think it's the same thing. So trying to transfer something that's brick and mortar, because prior to that, I met with people because I'm a trainer, I meet in a classroom, you understand? But having to transfer that to online, it was really challenging. So for me, I moved from observing what was going on with some interest. Okay, it's somewhere in China, so yeah, that's fizzle out. Then being concerned as it started to come closer home, you know, we locking down, we shutting down business. What's good? Then fear stepped in.
Mm.
So I was fearful, and then that was compounded by the fact that people started cutting and closing contracts. So whatever contracts I had in place, they went from 3, 4, 5 contracts to nothing at all, no income. So you could imagine the concern. So from that, then I had to kind of re-strategize. I had to retool myself. So for example, just being on the Zoom today, the first Zoom session I did, because when I think I look up in the air, I was looking up in the air for the entire session. So I had to learn how to look at the camera, you understand?
Yeah.
Everything about lighting was totally wrong, So there was quite a lot to learn, So a lot of retooling, and that kind of helped me to pivot. So I'm in that process of pivoting, but it was really, I would say, a challenging time. Even if you're going to go online, how are you going to get paid?
Mm.
Some clients prefer to deal in cash. How are you going to get to them? How are they going to pay you? In my area, what was particularly challenging is that all of a sudden, training no longer was important to companies. If it was training, it had to do something with COVID. So then nobody wanted to hear anything about customer service and leadership and anything like that, right?
Yeah.
And the second thing that happened is that people started offering things free online. So courses that I would charge people for now, people were getting it for free. So they would come and say, a course I may charge $1,500 for, they're doing it for $50 online or free. So then the profit margin was cut. So it's quite a lot to take in to readjust to, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
And Miss Quong Sing, how about you? How did COVID impact your business?
So things actually got busier on my end once COVID started because I do marketing online, and of course, once in-person things were closed down, everything was online. So while COVID didn't necessarily impact sort of the financial part of my business, it did impact my mental health quite a bit because I was all of a sudden swamped with work. I was working like 12 to 14 hours a day. People didn't seem to think I needed a rest because you're home anyway, so you could just keep going. And of course, those usual outlets, going out, hanging out with my friends, or just taking a drive somewhere, they weren't available anymore. I was in my room working all day, every day. I would say for about the first 3 months of COVID. And then after that, I started being a little more strict with myself about putting up boundaries with myself and with clients and being like, okay, these are my work hours. Don't contact me outside of these hours. Yeah, and just trying to regain some sense of like control of my life. But work-wise, COVID initially did a spike in the amount of work that was done. And I think now it's just kind of mellowed out, I guess, because we're not on full lockdown anymore. Yeah, that has been my experience.
Okay. So, I would just like to say I wish you all both the best because I know it's been a very rough time, and I hope that things will eventually get better for, everybody's business. Um, but for the people who are interested in now starting a business during COVID-19 times, do you have any advice for them on how to start their own business or how to, come up with a good ideas and get good financing behind it?
I suspect Mr. Rollocks would have a little more advice than me.
I'm sure you have some ideas. um, I think the first thing we have to address is mindset. You know, that's a big thing. If you're the kind of person where failing at something or having to do something over or try again or try a little harder is difficult, then entrepreneurship will be challenging for you. All right, because it's not an exact science. And it means that you're dealing with human nature, you're dealing with the marketplace, which could be volatile. So one thing, there's something that is termed the VUCA world. I don't know if you're familiar with the term VUCA. We're in a time that is volatile, it's uncertain, it's complex, and it's ambiguous. So that's the feature of the marketplace now. So like I share with people, you have to be prepared in a situation where one day they've opened up and the next 2 months they've had to close back down again. And that's likely to happen a couple more times before we see the back of this. So if that is something that is going to throw you off, then certainly, you understand, you want to, consider whether business is for you. All right. You have to get that mindset right. The other thing I'd say you need to consider is um, the marketplace certainly has changed, so dealing with connecting with people like Amalda will be great, because you must have an online solution. If you're not online, in many ways you don't exist. It used to be the other way around. If you didn't have a storefront, you know you didn't exist. But now if you're not online, so you need to have an online strategy, which will include definitely digital marketing. So I know younger persons are more adept at this, So if not, you certainly want to get on your Google, do your research, Um, and so that's certainly something that you'd want to consider. The other thing you'd want to think through as well is, what is the problem that you want to solve? Developing a problem, what I call a problem identification statement, is a good way to start, because sometimes people just, oh, I just want to do this, right? That may work for 1% or 2%, but it wouldn't work for most persons. You have to solve a problem that the marketplace or the customer or the client is concerned about. Not only must it be a problem that's important for them to be solved. So for example, right now, we know the challenge with moving around. So anybody who is moving things or helping people to move things or helping people to get to places or helping people to make payments, that's the kind of business that would thrive, right? Getting food to people, all those areas. But not only must you be able to provide a solution to a problem, it must be a problem that people are willing to pay for. Not every solution people are willing to pay for. Sometimes you may have a business idea, but it may be an NGO type business. Like, for example, I've dealt with persons who said, we have a lot of problems with our youths. So we need to have youth training. We need to have parenting skills training. But not a lot of people are willing to pay for it. All right. So you have to put all those things together. You have to add to that, become positively expectant. Expect the unexpected positively. You have to have that deeper faith, right? To know that once you get into this, you're going to make it work. Even if you bumble or fumble, you're going to find your way. You're going to find the resources. You're going to find the people. So once you have the mindset right, then you start putting on the skills and the tools and the hard areas, right? So wherever training and marketing would be important. So any kind of online marketing, social media, all those things would be important and valuable now. But of course, you need to understand the fundamentals of marketing. Those things don't change, you understand? And so you have to be able to answer certain basic marketing questions. So once you have the tools, and that's one of the tools, you want to understand financial management, you want to understand a little bit about of accounting. If you're in a particular field, you want to know that field well and continue to grow. I've had to work with someone, came to me, oh, I love to make juice, because they were making juice home and people love their juice, right? So I said, okay, that's a good idea. So what happens next? How much sugar do you put in? Oh, they didn't record how much sugar they put in the juice. They didn't, you know. So it means that you now have to have an operational plan. You have to sit down and map it out. If you're producing a product, how much do I need? What is going to cost me? Where I'm going to source it from? So you have to come up with a business plan. Oftentimes that would require connecting with someone, maybe a business coach or someone else you know in business to help guide you through it, right? So the mindset, the tool set, the skill set, and of course that needs to be funding. So that's a great time to talk to people like Amalda, where you can pitch your idea to someone, because you have to understand that if you can see the customer through the customer's eyes, you can sell the customer what the customer buys. In other words, you can't just be looking at it from your perspective. Are people looking for? What do they need? And that helps you to approach investors, whether you're talking to a bank, a credit union, you have investors who may invest in your business. So you want to put that together in a way that will attract them. So it's the mindset, the tool set, and the funds and financing. And then a little bit of luck in between and determination, and you'll do well.
Wow. Thank you so much for that. I feel like I should be paying you for consultation right now.
Yeah.
But maybe another time.
Yes. Well, before we end, Ms. Quong, do you have anything you'd like to add to what Mr. Rollocks said?
Not very much. I honestly think he articulated that so well. If I had to give someone advice, I would say go to someone like him. Don't feel like you have to do it on your own. I think it's something I would just add in there as a part of, building the mindset is having some form of support around you. You don't have to do it by yourself. It becomes very overwhelming very quickly if you do. And just to stress a point that Mr. Rollocks made, which was investing in yourself and in your education. If you're going into a particular field, know as much as you possibly can and continue to learn. Even when you're there, you never reach the top. There is no top. Someone's always going to be doing better. You always have to be learning. So make time, even however busy you get, make time to keep investing in yourself and stay on top of your game.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing. I'm like the things you have said today, I'm sure it's going to be so beneficial to so many young people. It's been very beneficial to the both of us. So we really appreciate it, and thank you for everyone who is listening.
Oh, thank you guys so much for having us.
Oh, no problem.
Yes.
We would love to have you all again.
It was certainly a pleasure. And I want to make a plug. One of the areas that I'm involved in is social impact. So I believe that the businesses of the future are businesses that have a double bottom line. Traditionally, the bottom line is just making profits, but you also need to have a bottom line that deals with social impact. And I think this period of COVID has shown it. So I think in whatever you're doing as you consider business, consider that you want to make a difference and you want to make an impact. And you should be willing to measure that. So every time you sit down to think about a business, think about how am I also going to make things better for my community, for my neighbors, for people around me. How am I going to make the world a better place? So add that to your objective. And I think we're going to have some great entrepreneurs. We need more persons, more social enterprise thinking businesses out there.
For sure. Well, thank you guys again. We really appreciate it.
A pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to suggest a topic, leave a message in the comment section.
If you'd like to see more videos, click the subscribe button and turn on your post notifications.